Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, A Little Geek, A Little Chic. Today we are going to talk about all of the books that I read in January. So grab yourself, your beverage of choice, and let's talk about what I read. So full disclosure, as I said in my other video, this cup is empty. I'm filming a few videos today for you guys, and directly after this, I am going out to get a new Keurig machine because my husband was making us coffee this morning and a piece flew out. So now the lid doesn't close and it doesn't do anything, and I need coffee in my life. So if you guys have a Keurig machine, has this ever happened to you? I'm kind of sad because the one that we had was the one with the digital display, and I loved it. And it did 16-ounce cups, which this bad boy is. And now the biggest they do are 12. So there's that. But I digress. Sometimes technology fails you. And after like 5 to 6 years, you need to purchase a new machine. So that's what's happening right after this. But first, we're going to get into what I read in January. To start off with, I read An Amazingly Unique Hockey Life by James Mays. So this is my father's book, which you've heard of in a few videos already. I read that in January. I won't go too much into detail with it. It is from his point of view. It is his memoirs of his time he spent in junior hockey within our province and the Hockey Canada World Juniors, and the people that he met that he loved along the way, and some of the people that he dealt with that he didn't love quite as much. But it is his memoirs. It is a personal account of someone's life. So as you know, nonfiction, especially memoirs, I do not like to rate them because it's not my life. It's not my story to tell. It's this person's. The writing was very good. I'm very impressed and a proud daughter for him writing this. And I will definitely reread it at some point, maybe this year, maybe next year. But I enjoyed it and I read it and it was great. And I am a proud daughter of an author. So there's that. But let's get into the books that I read that I didn't really talk too much about, that were on my January TBR, and one that wasn't. So we'll start with the one that was not on my January TBR, and that was The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This book is just I was not expecting what I got going into it. It is warm. It is amazing. It follows a whole cast of characters who you feel for and you understand, and all of them have different life stories, but they all love each other, and it's just a really good book. It is a middle grade, so it is written very approachable, but the lessons in it are for all, and it is amazing. And you watch these characters grow and be more than they thought they could be, and more than others thought they could be. And it's just a great story. So it follows a witch who, there's a town who every year sacrifices the youngest child in the town and leaves them in the woods for this witch. And the witch goes and picks up these children who are abandoned. Every year there's a child abandoned, and she doesn't know why. So she picks them up, she feeds them starlight, and she delivers them to a nearby town to be excellent stand-up citizens and excel at whatever they choose. And one day she finds a child, and instead of feeding her starlight, she accidentally gets distracted and feeds her moonlight, which gives the child abilities and magic. So the witch then has to care for this child and decides to raise her as her own. And the cast of characters and stuff that this child is with are amazing, and the turmoil that this town has and the struggle and the sorrow they have is real, and it's just a great story, and I loved it. I gave this book a 5 out of 5. The writing is superior. The characters are deep and amazing. There's one little teeny little dragon in this story, and oh, he just has my heart. The dragon is very reminiscent, if you're a child from the 90s era like me. If you watch Land Before Time, the character Ducky is very much reminiscent of this character. Another character that it brings to mind is the little bat from Fern Gully. So check those 2 movies out if you haven't, because they are just super awesome as well. The first book I have behind me here from my physical TBR is Children of Blood and Bone by Tony Amiety. This book follows our main character, Zélie. She is a child of a mother who had magical abilities and powers, as did all the other deity, until magic was stolen from them in a war with the monarchy. And this is a good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's deep. The characters are very well developed. There were some things I didn't love about this book. Full disclosure, because everybody says how much they love this book. And I did enjoy this book, and I did read it fast. And I will carry on and do the sequel. However, I found that the time, it's minor, but like you're already stretching your beliefs when you're reading a fantasy novel, because magic and all that. But I find that this one, I stretched my beliefs a little bit more than I wanted to, in regards to time. So I felt like there's one part where things are starting to go awry, and I can't say too much because spoilers, and things aren't going the way they want, and it's taken them so long to travel to this place, and something goes wrong. But apparently within like a day or 2, it's taken them way longer not to get there. A message can go all the way back to the kingdom, and individuals can come back and solve the problem within like a day or 2, and during a time that's set in like historical. It's not like a bridge can be built. To build a bridge, even just a regular rope bridge, it takes a while. These guys can send the letter back. The people can be there with the materials and build it in like 2 days. I don't think so. So the time part of suspending your belief, sometimes it feels like the time part was a little bit sped up to appease the characters. So that part I did not enjoy. But the rest of the book was great. And some parts are hard to read. And there's a lot of fighting and a lot of blood and a lot of sacrificing stuff in here. So there is that. So trigger warning if you're not a fan of the bloody battle scenes. There's a lot of them. So might not be the book for you. But if you're a fan of fantasy, this YA fantasy is great. And I felt like it was a really good read. Not too much world building, just enough to get me interested and keep me going. So pick this guy up if you haven't already. The other book that I read was, like I said, I read some big books, so I didn't read very many. Leah, Princess of Alderaan. This was great. So I part read this book and part listened to it, and I think the audiobook on this one is the way to go, because there's sound effects in it, and like you can hear like spaceships, like they're having a conversation, and you can hear like spaceships and or droids moving around in the background of this audiobook, and it just made me so happy. It made my heart so happy. From a Star Wars fandom point of view, I loved listening to this because the droids are just fantastic. And there's a little part with C-3PO in it, and there's a part with like a droid that's very much like an R2-D2 droid where it just beeps and stuff. And it just, I don't know how the books and Lucasfilms and now Disney has done it, and how they give personalities to these characters that do not have facial expressions. They can't talk. They can't but they make you feel for this inanimate robotic object that follows you around. And like, it's like basically if your Roomba had a personality, right? Like, it's just, I don't know how they do it, but it did it. And this book got me in all the right feel-good Star Wars places. And it basically covers Leia, who is the future heir to the throne. And she is in her 16th year and needs to do the challenges set forth so she can be crowned by her mother as the official royal heir to the throne. And it follows her as a teenager going through these trials and getting them all accomplished. She can do that. Well, there's a more bigger picture and crises looming in the background. So her parents are debutantes, and they host what she thinks are endless dinner parties. For what purpose? until Leah uncovers some stuff about the Empire and her parents' involvement in potentially the rebel alliances. And now she has to determine where her allegiances lie. And does she just stay as being a princess and act like she doesn't know anything to take over the throne and her ignorance is bliss? Is that the best thing for Alderaan or the worst? And it's just a really good book. So I won't tell you very much more than that because I don't want to spoil anything for you in this book. But that's basically the premise. It's on the inside cover, so it's not too spoilery. And everybody who knows Star Wars kind of knows Leia's backstory a little bit from what you've seen. This is a really, really good book to describe to you what she went through on her way to the throne. So I highly recommend this one. Pick this one up if you haven't. I got it at a used book sale for so it's a little bit damaged on the front. You can see that. For $3.25. So I'd heard about it. I'd heard how great it was. And for $3, I picked it up. But I did see it recently when I was at Indigo with a friend of mine for the day, and it is there on the shelf in the YA section. So you can pick it up if you want to read it. Reads great. If you like listening to audiobooks, this is the way to go with this one. The sound effects and the voices are fantastic. Highly, highly recommend. Either doing a read and listen at the same time, which is cool, or just listening to it. So good one there. And the last book that I got through, it is the 31st of January today. I am more than halfway through this book, so I intend to get even closer to finish this afternoon and evening, and I will finish off the rest of it tomorrow. So it'll be finished on the first day of February, technically, but the majority of it was read in January, so I'm going to discuss it and add it to my January wrap-up, and that is Obsidio by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. And it is the third book to the Illuminae trilogy. They are chunky. They're about 600 pages. But like I said before, I believe I said they're told in mixed media. So you have notes people posted, blueprints of ships. There's chat room speak. So it reads faster than it looks, and it is great. So far, I think the second book might be my favorite in the series. I'm not 100% sure because I'm not finished this one yet. This one definitely has some good reading going on, and I feel like it could be my favorite in the series. The first book was okay, but basically what this is, I won't tell you too much about this specific book because spoilers, but it's told in case files, and we are seeing what happens when a large corporation, in this case Biotech, feels that they are above the law and in secret go to this planet where they have effectively set up their complete own ecosystem, economy. It's a very cool planet, but they've set up all this stuff, schools, malls, everything. And they are illegally mining helium, or helium, I can't really pronounce it. And that is something that is controlled by Biotech. And Biotech is unimpressed when they find out about this illegal mining operation because they are supposed to control this. So they decide to go above the council and take law into their own hands. And in the first book, you find out in the first couple chapters that Biotech has come in to this space, and I think it's Kerenzia, and is attacking the civilians. So people that have lived there their whole lives and have nothing to do with the mine, so that is huge, and it's pretty entertaining to watch or to read about. And it's then these people who manage to flee are on the run and in different ships, and their stories and what's going on these different vessels. And then the council finds out, and then it's just so much going on. All of the information they're sending back to try to prove what Biotech did. Because even if there was an illegal mining operation, it does not make up for what this large corp has done outside of the will of the people and the council and taking the law into their own hands. So very, very good book. I won't tell you guys anything else about it, but that is the premise for the trilogy. They are big, they read fast, they are inexpensive actually because they're in the YA section. This one was $17.99. Like I said before, unfair pricing on books, right? So $17.99 for this giant chunker, and let's say we buy One by One by Ruth Ware. And it's not on sale. $25. Just saying. But that's my little book rant for the day. It's like you're an adult, so you can afford to pay more for your books than if you're a young adult. We'll put that back in there later. So those are all the books that I read in January. Like I said, I'm not going to give a rating to The Amazingly Unique Hockey Life because it is someone's memoirs and their life story. But The Girl Who Drank the Moon, as I stated before, 5 out of 5 stars. Best book I read this month. Fantastic, amazing, great characters, easy read, story for all ages, and everybody can get something out of it. It is a great, great book. Now, next, Children of Blood and Bone. That's upside down. Children of Blood and Bone. I gave this book probably, I'm going to say a 4 out of 5 stars. The storytelling's great. It got me excited about fantasy. It did its job. It was a nice segue for me into fantasy books. The characters are great. The backstory's great. They all have internal struggle, which you feel for them because you know that they're really struggling with decisions and their backstory and the reasons why they're doing what they are doing. This book was great. I think where it lacked, like I said before, was in the time aspect, where I didn't feel like time was accurately represented throughout the entirety of the book. And there were some little loopholes that I didn't really enjoy about the book. So I had to dock it a star for that because my enjoyment was kind of cut into my reading enjoyment with those things that I picked up on here that I didn't really love. This book, again, I really enjoyed it. The story was great. The audiobook part was fantastic that I listened to with the sound effects of the droids, and it just didn't take away from the book. It was just so well done. It's everything you expect from someone who writes a Star Wars anthology or a book to a companion to Star Wars, something that's already such a fantastic and followed franchise. This was a 4 out of 5 stars for me. I think it was just, I wanted more than I got from it. I wanted it to keep going, but it didn't. So hopefully there'll be more books in this series. Other than that, I thought that the characters were great, the storytelling was great, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that one's a 4 as well. And then this one, Obsidio. So far, I'm not completed it yet. Like I said, I'm going to be finishing it in January. And hopefully it will be a 5. Right now, I'm thinking it's honestly falling more into the 4-star realm. And the second book I liked the most of this trilogy. I would have given the second book probably the 5. The first book was also very good. It was probably 4.5. So I'm interested to see where this one falls. So far, it is not my favorite book in the trilogy, but it could still get there. And I like to find out where it's going to fall. That is it for me and the books that I read in January. Thank you so much for watching. If you read any of these books, let me know in the comments down below. Or if you plan on picking some of them up after hearing what I've had to say about them, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video for you very soon.